The late 80s were the heyday of the run-and-gun arcade game. Contra perfected the concept of sending a couple of soldiers on a suicide mission to destroy whatever menace was threatening humanity, so it's no surprise that there were a string of knockoffs to ride its coattails. Beirut is one such title. When the game opens, you were given a simple mission: infiltrate the enemy airstrip and make it to the embassy to rescue the hostages. It's unclear who has kidnapped these people, but it doesn't take long to find out that they mean business. The hero of this story, Tom, lands his Harrier jet on the battlefield and immediately launches his offensive. Tom comes ready for battle too, because he has 4 different weapons at his disposal right out of the gate. The reliable machine gun can mow down enemies quickly, a bouncing grenade that can only be fired while crouching and that has extremely limited uses, a flamethrower that can absolutely wreck anything and everything it comes into contact with, and finally a flying mine that will split into 4 different directions when it comes into contact with an enemy. Each of these weapons can be powered up, allowing them to pack a little more punch. The exception to this is the machine gun that is transformed into an all-powerful spread gun that can clear the battlefield quickly. Enjoy it while it lasts though, because with the overwhelming ferocity of the enemy, you won't live very long. As you venture across the post-apocalyptic wasteland, you'll find that whoever you are invading doesn't take too kindly to your presence. The majority of these enemies are muscle-bound men in tank tops and pants of varying color. Some will fire at you while others will rush towards you, and by and large are easily taken down with a shot or 2. The problem is they are absolutely everywhere, making them almost impossible to avoid. The good news is your hero can take 2 hits before dying. The bad news is the bullets will be lined up waiting for your split second of invincibility to wear off after taking a hit. Outside of the standard cannon fodder enemies, you'll come across some more advanced units, including jetpack wearing gunners, motorcycle enemies, as well as small flying robots that will quickly become the bane of your existence. This enemy is on par with the birds from the Ninja Gaiden games, as they will appear out of nowhere, fire a plethora of bullets at you, and occasionally go kamikaze on you as well. During the next to last boss fight, they are so prevalent you'll spend more time dealing with them than the boss. Before you reach the bosses, however, you'll have to fight through lengthy levels, which are sadly pretty basic. Some of the background elements are cool, like the destroyed cityscapes or the scorched earth as you race by on your hoverbike. But navigating through these levels is little more than walk left to right, and occasionally jump over a box or upstairs. There are a couple of dead ends that you can encounter that will force you to backtrack, but other than that, there really isn't any sort of deviation from the main path. It's never clear exactly who you were fighting or what happened to the world, but whatever it is, it's clear that it was Terminator-esque machines that were involved. Every boss is machine-based in some way, from the second level snake boss that slithers around the screen, to the scythe ship that stalks you across the board trying to give you a bladed hug, to the final boss that is, well, a pretty blatant Terminator ripoff. The first half of the final duel has you ducking for cover as a robot that is totally not an Arnold Schwarzenegger clone firing a giant machine gun at you, and the second half has you fighting against the flying Terminator torso. Now, I know they didn't have floating Terminator torsos in the movie, but it's hard not to notice the resemblance. The control and gameplay are both fine, as your character will go where you want him to and shoot at what needs shooting at. The only nitpick with it comes with the weapon select. There is a dedicated button to cycle through the weapons, which is great. However, when you die, which is quite often, your weapon selection resets to the machine gun. If you are in the heat of battle roasting enemies with your flamethrower and die, it takes a couple of button presses to get back to it, which is often enough time for you to be hit with another bullet. Combine this with the fact that the second weapon won't fire unless you're crouched, and you will die more than once while smashing the fire button to no avail after selecting the wrong weapon. The biggest issue with the game is the difficulty level, which is completely off the charts. While it was customary back in 1989 to have difficult arcade games that would encourage kids to drop another quarter into it, this one is in a league all of its own. Even on the first level, there is an overwhelming number of bullets and brawlers flying at you from every angle, making it an almost certainty that you won't see the first boss without plunking down several more credits. If you encountered this game out in the wild back in 1989 and wanted to finish it, there's a good chance it would have been cheaper to just buy the arcade machine and set it to free play than it would have been to keep pumping in quarters to continue. Difficulty level aside, this is a decent Contra clone with 7 levels of robot blasting action. If you have half an hour to kill and want to blast things into oblivion, and have it on MAME so you don't have to take out a second mortgage on the house to afford the playthrough, it's worth a look.